Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah.
Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wassalamun ala ibadihi alladhina astafa. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi al-kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad adada ma fi ilmillah salatan da'imatan bidawami mulkillah. Allahumma ij'alna du'atan ilayka wa ila rasulik. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan wasi'a wa shifaan min kulli da. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. ربنا يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. اللهم اجعل حبك أحب إلينا من أنفسنا وأهلنا ومن الماء البارد. اللهم ارزقنا حبك وحب من ينفعنا حبه عندك. ربنا زدنا علما. أما بعد. The story of Nabi Musa ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wassalam inviting Fir'aun to Islam, his da'wah to Fir'aun towards Islam. Nabi Musa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam said to Fir'aun, accept my one plea to you and be blessed with 4 bounties. Fir'aun asked, what is your one plea? Nabi Musa alayhi salam said, announce publicly that there is no God save Allah. He is the creator of the heavenly bodies on high and the stars here on earth. He is the creator of men, shaitans, jinn, and animals. He is also the creator of mountains, the oceans, the forests, and the deserts. His kingdom is unlimited, and he is without equal and without a likeness. He is the watcher over every person and supervisor over every place in the universe. He grants sustenance to every living being. He is the keeper of the heavens and the earth. He creates flowers in plants and is aware of the inner secrets of the hearts of men. He is the ruler over the rebellious ones and the punisher of them. He is the king over every king. His is the right to rule with authority, and whatever he wishes, he does. No one can oppose him. Fir'aun listened to all this and asked, what are the 4 things that I will receive in exchange for that? Perhaps the promise of those things will cause my belief to become weak, and through my acceptance of Islam, the locks of unbelief of numerous other souls may be broken, and they too will also embrace Islam. Perhaps through these things, our land may become green and fertile with the true knowledge of Allah. Quickly tell me what those 4 things are, for it is possible that the door towards my hidayah will open up. Nabi Musa alayhi salam then through the command of Allah started mentioning to him the 4 promises. He said to him, if you embrace Islam, you will remain in good health and will never become sick. You will continue to be desirous of death. In other words, in accepting Islam, you will have formed such a close contact with Allah that through it you will see the prospects of such a treasure that you will in expectancy thereof make all your selfish desires become subject and subordinate to the pleasure and wishes of Allah. You will be prepared to exert yourself spiritually to such an extent that you will even be prepared to sacrifice your life. If in someone's house there is a treasure buried, that person will willingly and with pleasure be prepared to break down that house in order to get the treasure. So also the true lovers and seekers after Allah will be prepared to destroy their lustful desires, destroy it in order to attain the pleasure of Allah and close contact with Him. After this destruction, the great bounty and favor they acquire is the envy of the whole world. It is only after one tears away the clouds of desire that the true light of the sun shines through. O Firaun, just as the worms attacking the vine's green leaves deprive the plants of producing grapes, so also does this despicable world make you busy with the pleasures of the flesh. But when Allah's bounty and favor prevails, then you will become wakeful and aware and discard the worldly pleasures and become busy with the truth. The result will be that every vein and fiber of yours will be filled with the remembrance of Allah. Every vein and fiber of yours will be filled with the remembrance of Allah, and you'll become endowed with the character of Allah. Taqallaqu bi akhlaqillah. The third promise is this: at the moment, you have one kingdom at your disposal, but after embracing Islam, you will have 2 kingdoms. The kingdom you now possess was given to you in the time when you were rebelling against Allah. You can imagine that in your state of obedience to Him, what great gifts you will receive. If you had received so much during the time when you were an unjust one against His commands, how much will be your prize for obeying Him? The 4th thing that you will receive is that you will remain forever young and your hair will remain black. This is but an insignificant bounty in my opinion. It is granted like the promise to a small child to whom the promise is made. If you go to the madrasa, I will give you a walnut. In actual fact, in comparison with the knowledge that the child is to receive by going to madrasa, the walnut is insignificant. Listening to these promises, Firaun's heart became inclined to Islam. To a certain extent, he became inclined. He said, all right, I shall consult with my wife. I will make mashwara with my wife. He then went to his house to consult with his wife, Asiya, who gave him some sound and wonderful words of advice, as Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah explains in the following chapter. The story of Firaun consulting with his wife, Asiya radiallahu ta'ala anha, over embracing Islam. Firaun went home and told the whole story to his wife. She replied, "You should sacrifice your life for such promises." This conversation is the detailed description of many favors which are like the text. So you should quickly acquire those favors and never leave them. The crop is ready for the harvest and it is most beneficial. Up to now, all the time that has passed by went by without benefit. She said this and began to cry bitterly. Then she again was filled with vigor and said, "Be blessed, O bald-headed one. The sun has become your crown. Nabi Musa alayhi salam has hidden your evil deeds and now wishes to give you a wealth of inner treasure. The fault of a bald-headed one can be hidden by a simple hat. But your faults Allah wishes to cover through the crown of His mercy. O Firaun, my advice to you is this: do not wait for consultation. You should have accepted that invitation to embrace Islam in that very gathering. The offer that Nabi Musa alayhi salam gave you is not of an insignificant nature, that you should search for advice. It is such a thing that if it was placed before a creature of high rank like the sun, it would immediately and willingly come from the heavens to the earth to accept it. Do you realize what a promise this is? And do you realize what a gift this is? O Firaun, this is such a mercy from Allah, as was the mercy that came to Iblis. It is not Allah's way to treat a rebellious and unjust one like you with such kindness. I am surprised that on seeing this kindness, you don't burst open out of pleasure and satisfaction. I am surprised that you are still intact. If your gallbladder had burst open out of pleasure and satisfaction, you would have received reward in both worlds, a good name in this world and salvation in the Akhirah. Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah says that whosoever's gallbladder bursts open with sorrow or out of pleasure and dies is a martyr and will enjoy the benefits of both the worlds. Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah further says, when evil ones confront saintly ones, they try to change the saintly ones to their line of thinking and ways. When the saintly ones refuse to change, they begin to cause them injury and harm. The angels will take up the tears of the saints in their mouths and on their wings, and Allah will weigh them in similar fashion and to the same extent as He values the blood of the martyrs. Hazrat Asiya radiallahu ta'ala told Firaun, "O Firaun, do not doubt or hesitate. Give of yourself one drop and in return acquire from the Messenger of Allah a whole ocean." In other words, bend down yourself and avoid all pride and become honored with Allah's nearness. Allah, Allah, why do you delay in accepting the invitation? This is great sympathy for you, that the sea is itself calling for you with such insistence. Quickly sell yourself into the hands of the ocean which invites you. Quickly run and seek the ocean. It is an ocean of mercy and not any insignificant little stream. If you are without hands and feet and unable to reach the ocean of your own accord, place yourself into the obedience of Musa alayhi salam. Become a ball for Musa alayhi salam and he will become your feet. O Firaun, do not doubt the promises he made to you and do not consider them to be mere deception. Allah, Allah, come forward to acquire those bountiful favor quickly and do not become destroyed through wrong conceptions. And when Allah Himself is seeking you out, do not hesitate or delay. As far as is possible, hurry up and bend your heart before Allah. Allah, Allah. Quickly start making righteous deeds and become happy through the glad tidings coming to you. Allah, Allah. For how much longer are you going to be rebellious? And for how long are you to keep your neck high in arrogance? Allah, Allah. When that Allah is making you ashamed of your sins, therefore give thanks to Him. Allah, Allah. When Allah through His grace gives you the path towards Him, then bend down your neck in submission to Him. Allah, Allah. O Firaun, see how in spite of your blasphemy, he still accepts you. Is this favor and gift not something to be greatly appreciated? All graceful favors are nothing in the face of His grace, because an earthly being reaches up to the seventh heaven and a human being can become angelic. O Firaun, who can get such a market where in exchange for one rose, a whole bed of roses is given? Who can find such a market where in exchange for one seed, 100 trees is given, and for one seed, numerous ears of corn? Hearing all this from Asiya radiallahu ta'ala anha, Firaun said, all right, I shall now consult with my chief minister, Haman. Hazrat Asiya radiallahu ta'ala anha said to him, do not tell him about this. Do not consult with him, because he is not fit to be consulted. How can a blind one appreciate the royal falcon? But Firaun did not listen to her and proceeded to consult with Haman. Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah says, the consultant of an unsuitable one is himself unsuitable. For this reason, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to consult with Hazrat Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, who was a suitable consultant, while Abu Jahal used to consult with Abu Lahab. Every person consults with someone similar to himself. So when Haman heard the story from Firaun, he leaped, jumped about, and in sorrow he tore his garment to pieces. He made a big noise and starting to cry aloud, throwing his turban on the ground, he said, Alas, Musa, alas, Musa has insulted you. My sire, Musa has insulted you, alas. You are after all such that the whole universe is submissive to you. From the east and the west, everybody brings their tribute to you. Kings and rulers willingly kiss the dust of your house. He has degraded you greatly. You are the one to whom the whole world prostrates and whom they all worship, and yet you want to listen to him and become an ordinary slave? You being Lord now want to consult with me about becoming a slave of another slave? In my opinion, it is better for you to be burnt in 1,000 fires than to be insulted and degraded like this. If you are going to accept the invitation to embrace Islam, then kill me first, so that I do not see this insult to you with my eyes. Strike my neck quickly, so that I do not see that sight. That heaven should become earth, or that a God should become a slave. In other words, that our slave should become our master, and we become his slave. Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah at this stage rebukes Haman, saying, O Haman, you rejected one. How many governments were there not in this world? How many governments were there not in this world, stretching from east to west? But today, there is no sign of them left on this earth. It seems today as if they never existed. Even the east and the west will not remain forever. So how can they keep others to remain? This pride and arrogance in Haman was a poisonous killer. And from such poisonous drink, he was drunk and became foolish. Through this advice of Haman, Fir'aun declined to accept the truth and thereby handed himself over to everlasting disgrace and punishment. May Allah save us all from arrogance and pride, Ameen, and the rejection of truth, Ameen. When Fir'aun came under the influence of Haman's misleading deceit and rejected Nabi Musa's invitation, alayhi salam, Nabi Musa alayhi salam said to him, "We have been very generous and graceful to you, but it is not in your good fortune to accept it. So what is there that we can do? What is there that we can do? It's not in your good fortune to accept it." May Allah save us from takabbur and rejection of haqq. The story of Majnoon and his camel. Once Majnoon was sitting on his camel going towards the house of Layla. But as he became drowned in thoughts about Layla, in this state of being besides himself, absent in mind, the reins of the camel became loose in his hand. The camel then, instead of going towards the house of Layla, turned his direction towards home, where the camel had a little one for which it was besides itself with love. When Majnun recovered from his state of absent-mindedness, he became quite distressed and perplexed. The camel had gone back to where it had set out from. He again forced the camel to take the route towards Layla's house. But it happened quite a few times that after traveling for a short while, thoughts about Layla would occupy his mind. And while he was in an absent-minded state, the camel would turn back. In the end, Majnun became angry. And he said, "My Layla is in front, and this camel's Layla is at the back of us. Its little one makes it turn back. For this reason, this path of love cannot be traversed. For this reason, this path of love cannot be traversed. My Layla is in front, and this camel's Layla is at the back of us. Its little one makes it turn back. For this reason, the path of love, this path of love cannot be traversed. And during this whole life of mine, I will not be able to reach my beloved." Hence, he jumped from the top of the camel. He fell and broke one of his legs. Maulana Rumi, alayhi rahman, now says, "Life is starving through being separated from the Lord of the throne, who is the truly beloved. But the body, in search of means of livelihood, like the camel, goes in an opposite direction." Life is starving through being separated from the Lord of the Arsh, who is the truly beloved. But the body, in search of means of livelihood, like the camel, goes in an opposite direction. Then Majnun said, "Now I have become a ball. Now I have become a ball, and I roll along as the bats of Layla's love drive me along." Maulana Rumi, alayhi rahman, now gives the advice from this story. For the love of Layla, who is a mere corpse that will become rotten, Majnun makes so much effort. But we who are supposed to be the lovers of the Rabb, Allah, how can our love be any less? It is more fitting that we should, for the sake of His love, become like a ball to be driven about. The lesson: at this time, the reason for our negligence and unmindfulness of the hereafter is that our soul and mind want to move in the direction of Allah. But our nafs and desires are inclined towards the greed and love of the world, and hence moving in that direction. So the nafs moving in the opposite direction. At all times we have the struggle with our nafs, while we get to do with the world and its Layla. So what we should do is to accept that Layla, which is everlasting, and to be patient with regard to that Layla, which is of temporary nature. This does not mean that we should discard this world completely and go into the forest. Doesn't mean that. That would be a foolish line of action. What is suitable is to make one's love of the Akhirah, to make one's love of the hereafter overwhelm. Make it ghalib, dominant, dominate one's love of the world. That is sufficient. That is sufficient. But the courage for this is only acquired through love and contact with a saintly figure and being like a slave to him. Kunu sadiqeen. What a lesson. The story of the person walking with a lamp by day. One day a certain person took a burning lamp in his hand during the light of the day as he proceeded to the market. Someone said to him, "What is wrong with you? What need is there for a lamp during the light of the day?" He replied, "I am searching for man everywhere. Everywhere. I do not see even one man." The person said, "But this market is filled with men." He replied, "No, there is no man in this market, only the outer forms of men. These are only bread eaters, and persons involved with their desires. All the persons you see in this market are all carriers of attributes contrary to the true manhood. They are not men, but persons dressed in the outer forms of men. For a man, the attributes of manhood are necessary. If aloe wood, which has a fragrance, does not possess fragrance, then what is the difference between it and other timber? Manhood and humanity is not the name for flesh, fat and skin. Manhood is the name given to those attributes, sifat, character and deeds through which Allah's pleasure is attained. If manhood is only for those in manly form, then Ahmad and Abu Jahl would be equal. Yet we know it is not so. Lesson. If we should, on the above criteria, take stock of our manhood and humanity, then on the whole surface of the earth, the only real men will be the saintly ones. The rest of those who are supposed to be human beings are only eating and defecating, who are busy with their objectives and what is connected to them. The best example of this is the machine grinding flour. At the one side, the corn is entered into it, and at the other end, the flour comes out. Similarly, the human body of those who only eat and defecate is also a machine. Where on the one side, bread is entered into it, and at the other side, the feces are coming out of it. It is thus a machine producing feces and excreta. So those who only look upon their aims in life as eating and defecating are actually calling their bodies a machine producing excreta. May Allah save us from this stupid theory. Ameen. Maulana Rumi's other theme, that man is not a name for flesh and fat covered in human skin, but man is a name for him who does that which pleases Allah. Does that which pleases Allah. The signs of it being so is that the person becomes adorned with deeds and character which lead to his pleasure. Such a person undoubtedly is fit being called a man. he has the contact of nisbat within him. Nabi Adam's special description is this, that he uttered the cry, Rabbana ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. O our Lord, we have been unjust to our own selves, and if you don't forgive us and have mercy on us, we shall be of the losers. Adam alayhi salam's special description is that he uttered this cry. He cried and cried thus, like this, كَذَلِكَ رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا, for a lifetime. So much so that from the tears he shed, small fountains started flowing, and from them fragrant flowers, roses and jasmines were created. He cried and cried so much that from the tears he shed, small fountains started flowing, and from them fragrant flowers, roses and jasmine were created, as is mentioned in the tafsiri Mahaimi, as is mentioned in the tafsir of Mahaimi. Hence Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah says, those people who are the special children of Adam will, like their father, cry Rabbana, Rabbana over their sins, begging his pardon, cry like their father. Through this theory of Maulana Rumi alayhi rahmah, many an owner of huge mansions and motor cars, but who do not possess the attributes of true servants of Allah Ta'ala, should pass judgment over themselves as to whether they are great men or small men. In fact, there is the doubt as to whether they are men at all. Great men are those who have kept Allah pleased with them. On the plane of reckoning, on the day of Qiyamah, everyone will be brought to his correct level. If in this world it is said that this is a great man because he owns a mansion stretching over 2,000 yards, or that he has 3 motor cars and is the owner of 3 factories, of what use is it going to be to him when in the hereafter he will be looked upon as if he was just a sweeper? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once asked, O people, do you know who is a great man? He then informed them that a great man is one who is known as Ashabul Layl. Ashabul Layl, people of the night, and Hamalatul Quran, Hamalatul Quran, bearers of the Quran. That is, he is one of those who stand up during the night to recite tahajjud prayers. And secondly, he is one of those who not only recite Quran, but has made the Quran, the Quranic lifestyle, his habit. If he had been only a reciter of Quran, Rasulullah alayhi salam would have said Hafidhatul Quran. But he didn't say Hafidhatul Quran. Hamalatul Quran. Subhanallah. So he informed them that a great man is one who is known as from amongst Ashabul Layl. Ashabul Layl, Hamalatul Quran. May Allah make us the true exponents of manhood and humanity. Ameen. And may He enter into us the correct relationship with our father, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. And may He cause the true soul to enter our bodies. Ameen. This one short story and we will close up for today, inshallah. The story of the slave who did not come out of the masjid. A certain rich man had a very religious-minded slave called Sankar. One day, this rich man and his slave were going somewhere, On the way, they passed a masjid and heard the adhan being sounded from there. Sankar said to his master, "Please wait for me. I am going to perform salah." Sankar went to the masjid while his master, being overcome with his own pride and arrogance, went to sit down by a shop to wait for his slave. When the imam and the congregation had performed the salah and recited the after salah wazifas and zikr, and they came out, Sankar remained in the masjid. The master called out to him, "O Sankar, why do you not come out? Who has kept you there in the masjid?" Sankar replied, "O proud one, the one who did not allow you to come in is the one who now does not allow me to come outside. O proud one, the one who did not allow you to come in is the one who now does not allow me to come outside." Sankar, who was experiencing Allah Ta'ala's nearness, being engaged in dhikr and prayers, said, "O Master, he who is not allowing you to come in, keeping you waiting for me outside by the shop, is not allowing me to come out of the masjid." Explanation: he whom Allah wishes to make his own favorite ones, this is the sign thereof. He does not allow the fish permission to come out of the water. He does not allow the fish permission to come out of the water. And he does not allow the earthly being to dwell in the water. The origins of fish is in the water, and the origins of earthly beings is on the earth. So how can water accept other than fish to dwell therein? No deceit or contrivance can be useful. The lock towards misguidance is solid. However, the opener of the door of guidance is Allah. Acquire the bounty of pleasure and submission, for which humility and lamentation are required. Humility and lamentation. Through pride and contrivance, this door is not opened. If every atom of this world becomes a key, if every atom of this world becomes a key, still will the doors of guidance not be opened by anyone except Allah. Lesson: the conclusion of this story is this, that the ability and guidance towards doing righteous deeds lies in the hands of Allah. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ وَمَا تَوْفِيقِ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ اللَّهُمَّ وَفِّقْ. This door is not opened through knowledge, planning, use of intellect, pride over these things, or pride over these things. This door is only acquired, and this is only acquired through Allah's bounty and divine mercy. To acquire it, one has to lower himself before Allah by crying, begging, and praying to Him. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh I don't care. This is who I am, this is me.